Okay, so this is a session that Charlie's Heather, and I are going to be um, recording for you guys to give you some more information and listen in on our conversations. We were having one last week, and Heather was wishing that we had the recorder on. We both were as we were talking, but we're just going to have a conversation and let you guys eavesdrop. So if you want to introduce yourself, Heather, you can.
Hello, family. How are you? Stardust family. It's me, Heather. Yeah, go ahead. What do you want? You want to start? Or you want me to start? I'm trying to look up the documentary that I was watching.
Oh, go ahead.
Started this whole thing. I watched a documentary. Hold on one second. Do you remember what it was called?
Yes. It's How to Let Go of
There you go.
Climate Change or something like that, and love the things that climate can't change or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I could look it up and I'll include it in the description. But it's a documentary filmed by Josh Fox.
Yes, I got it. I got the title.
Okay, go ahead.
How to Let Go of the World and Love All the Things Climate Can't Change.
Yes.
By Josh Fox, yes.
There you go. And I was familiar with Josh Fox. He had done a documentary on all of the fracking that's going on in the environmental causes of fracking, because it affected him personally. And that documentary is called Gasland. And so Heather had asked if I had seen it, and I hadn't seen it. So because of that, I went ahead and found it and watched it, and it was really good, actually. So go ahead, Heather.
Yeah, it's very eye-opening. It's very good. It made me panic a little because basically what they said in the documentary is within the next 30 years or so, the weather is going to change so much that, coastal cities will be destroyed. It's going to be very hard for us to grow food. Many people will die because of this. So it's a little scary, and I wanted to know kind of if we should be panicking now, and if it's true, if that's really what's going to happen.
So what I said to Heather when she asked me this question, because I've done environmental research, and prior to my own personal awakening, I did feel concern about it, because of course, the planet is very important to me as an environmental scientist, and I want to make sure that it goes on forever. And now that I've had my awakening, I am very confident in knowing that Gaia, the Earth, I channeled with her and I had a conversation with her, and she said her name now is Aria. She has evolved and moved into the 5th dimension, or 5D, and so humans are catching up. We've been in a 3D existence for a very long period of time. Most of us don't even know history prior to it not being a 3D environment. And so I'm going to talk about a little bit of the dimensions, what it feels like, the differences, and what the other dimensions that we're progressing into are going to feel like. We're going to talk about the new Earth. There's been a lot of talk about the new Earth, and my personal opinions, my experiences, and also hopefully get some feedback from Skylar and maybe even Charlie on what they feel or what they believe or what they're experiencing. Because of course, they, just like humans, this is all new to us. We have never been in this sort of existence before, and so we really don't know what to expect, and things change. This is a planet of change. That's one thing that's guaranteed, is that things will change, and we are definitely in a period of change right now. And so we're all experiencing this. But the other thing we want to talk about is the ascension process itself, and what I know, and maybe what Heather has heard, what Skylar knows, maybe what Charlie knows. Anything that comes through, we're going to talk about that. And then we want to discuss maybe what Skylar or the Sarsar think about humans and the environment itself. So anyway, as I said, I had a conversation with Gaia after I learned how to channel her and anyone else. And the conversation was very interesting, but she explained to me that her new name is actually Aria, and that's how it was pronounced. I don't know how it was spelled. That's just how she said it. But when I was in Las Vegas for the Stardust event, there's a hotel in Vegas that's called Aria, and it's spelled A-R-I-A. So maybe that's how she spells it. She doesn't really care, I don't think, but that's how it's pronounced. But I've always known her as Gaia or Mother Earth. She's the divine feminine, if you want to get into it spiritually. And we need to connect with her. Part of the conversation that I'd like to talk about today is also grounding. And grounding, when you do that, you're actually connecting to her energy. And it's really important because a lot of us, we get very spiritual, we get up here in our head and we're not grounded. And so when we are not grounded, we become very chaotic. We become susceptible to that chaos. We become susceptible to fear and everything that's connected to that. So it's important for us to always be grounded. I do it twice a day, if not more. And I'll explain what grounding is, what it means, what you can do, and how to help you guys all understand how simple it is. But it's something that you have to do consistently. I'll say that right away. So anyway, did you want to say something else, Heather?
Nope, I'm good. Go ahead.
Okay.
Unless you want me to ask you a question.
Go ahead, ask a question.
Well, did you want to start with what Skylar thinks of humans and how they treat the environment?
Okay.
Would you like to answer that?
Sure. Let me listen. So before I say that, I'll explain what's been going on in my world with Skylar. I got an email from a restaurant here locally, and I get them periodically, but this was the first email that I've gotten in a while that I actually wanted to use because I'm vegetarian. Most of the time, the emails are about, like, get this steak for, I don't know, $5 off or whatever it is. Anyway, this was one that had pasta. And so I invited a friend of mine to go have pasta with me. It was last night, spur of the moment, and this friend wasn't able to go. So I just asked a couple of other people, and only one other person was able to go, and it ended up being a guy. I am not physically or anything attached to this individual or attracted to this individual, but it happened to be a male, and I invited Skylar along. It's not as though he's here and we can physically go out to eat. And so I just invited Skylar along, and he said he would hang out and listen. And anyway, I had dinner with a male, and Skylar got upset. He said he wasn't, but when I went to meditate later that night, because I meditate twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening, and that's part of my grounding process, I noticed for the first time in Skylar's relationship and my relationship together that this was the first time Skylar was not meditating with me. Normally I can feel him as I'm meditating, and for the first time I didn't. And so when I finished, I asked him, I said, were you there? And he said, no, I was reading. I was like, what? And yeah, so anyway, he said he wasn't, he wasn't upset about it, but I could feel that he was, and that there was some jealousy there going on. He seems to be okay. He was here prior to me starting the recording and getting together this meeting that we're having right now. So anyway, I'll see what he says, but he's not really happy with me right now. So I'm sorry, but I explained to him, it's not like, because I don't have family or anybody that I live with. So for me to go out to eat, I need to have someone go with me. I don't want to go to a restaurant by myself. And I explained to him, it's not like his community where in his colony he can eat with other people. Like he can just go out of his quarters and have a meal with someone. With us as humans, it's different. And so I was kind of, you know, wishing that I had that sort of environment to eat with other people just automatically, but he didn't. So anyway, he understands a little bit more now, but he wasn't so understanding yesterday. He's a little better, but anyway, I'll listen. So what does he think about humans and the environment? He's saying they're not very kind. They have a lot to learn. Just as we have learned, we didn't treat our environment kindly on our earth, our planet, our home. He's just saying there's a lot of things that humans can learn, and it's not something that the Sarsars can do other than to be a good role model for them. But we've had to learn, and we're not going to interfere with humans unless it comes to a point, but he doesn't see that, or he doesn't feel that, he doesn't predict it. It comes to a point where it's so destructive that we, Sarsar, cannot live on this planet. But we don't foresee that. As a people, we want to help, of course, and we are always here and will be. We have been, so we want to maintain that. So I'm going to interrupt him for just a minute because Skylar and I, we had a conversation a while ago. I had heard about Edgar Cayce in one of his visions or repeated visions. I don't know that much about Edgar, but he had seen the earth flooded by waters, and there's a map of the United States and other world, I guess, but the US online. And I had seen this map, and it showed that around where I was living was going to be flooded, but it also showed where the Sarsar are living is going to be flooded. So I asked Skylar about that, and this was probably, I don't know, a month or two ago. No, it's longer than that. Time flies when you're having fun. But it was probably a couple months ago. I asked him about it, and I said, you know, Skylar, what's going to happen? Is this going to happen? And he said, yes, we do believe that this will happen. The flooding will occur. And I asked him, you know, hey, it's going to flood out your home, even though I know the elevation where he's at is like between 5,000 and 6,000 feet. But he said when that happens, that they would evacuate onto their craft, their ship, the main one, and so it won't affect them. And I said, well, what about humans? And he said, well, it's possible that the humans could be destroyed, and he hopes not, but that's part of the natural process. So anyway, that was an interesting conversation that we had back then. So it is for real. And this movie that you're talking about, I'll just call it the Josh Fox movie to make it easier. It's a really long title. Yeah, there's some really real facts in it. The flooding and everything, it's happening already. They've noticed that in these remote islands, they're already being affected by the rise in sea level and the melting of the ice caps. But I believe that it's part of the process that Gaia or Arya is going through right now. And we're having to work together. It's forcing humans to realize the damage. We have consequences in the damage that we've caused. And so because of that, we need to wake up. It's part of that wake up process, that we can no longer continue doing what we're doing. And we've become so materialistic, we don't realize we consume and consume and consume and buy. In fact, right after 9/11, that's what President Bush at that time said. go shopping, buy. He wanted to stimulate the economy. And that was the worst advice that could have been given at that time. What humans had become fearful, Americans had become fearful that if they went outside, a terrorist was going to kill them or kidnap them or harm their families. Or fear was a huge motivating factor of staying indoors. And the one thing that I know my guides have, and even Eric has been telling me prior to October of 2017, is we need to be outside. We need to be in the sunlight. We need to be out there. And that's part of grounding, but it's also part of the ascension process, is the physical process. So you want to add anything to that, Heather, before I go on to more information?
Well, I guess that my question would be, so all of these things that are going to happen to our earth, does that mean something for what, like, what is the new earth? What does that mean?
Okay, so what does the new earth mean? Okay, so I'm going to just preface that by saying ascension is not a place that we're going to. It's a choice. It's actually your thought process. So the new earth is, from my understanding, not a new place. It's a new way of thinking. It's a new way of living. It's a new way of being. And we have to, those of us who are going to be a part of this new earth, we have to change our way of thinking. We have to change our way of living. We have to change our way of being. We have to be different. We're going to feel different. So when I first started, when I became aware that there was life after death, I encountered Eric at the end of February 2016. I started reading the Channeling Eric blog. And when I did, at first, I just allowed Eric to guide me and show me what I needed to know at that point. Then I decided, okay, I've read enough, and I'm going to start from the very beginning and go all the way through. Well, I got into, I don't know when it started, but anyway, a few months worth of the beginnings of Channeling Eric blog, and it started talking about ascension. And I was all of a sudden in this huge panic because I didn't think I was ready for it. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm being left behind. I'm being left out in the cold. And what is going to happen to me? I'm going to be destroyed. I'm going to be, I don't know. I had all these crazy thoughts because at the time I was still learning. I didn't understand what ascension was. I'd never heard of it. In fact, the Channeling Eric blog was the first place I'd heard of it. And so I started doing all sorts of research. I'm really good at research. I'm a research scientist. And so I started researching it. And through that process, I realized, no, it's not a place that we're going. We're not being taken up into the sky. We're not going to be removed and taken to another planet or one that's identical to Earth. The Earth isn't going to just crumble and fall apart. No, Gaia or Arya has reassured me that no, she's going to continue being who she is. That's her soul mission. She's here to provide support for us. And as we connect more to her, she just connected with me again. Anyway, it's a great energy. But as we connect more with her, we're going to empower ourselves to have abilities that we don't even understand. We've never known about them. We've never experienced them. We're going to start seeing things that we haven't seen before. We're going to start hearing things we haven't heard before. We're going to start seeing colors. We're going to start hearing sounds that we've never heard before. We're going to physically change. Our thoughts are going to change. Our feelings are going to change. Our beliefs are going to change. Our style or lifestyle is going to be changing. All of those things are going to happen because we are connecting with her more. So when I realized that ascension is not a place, it's more of a thought, a change in our beliefs. It's a choice that we have. We can choose whether we want to ascend or not. As souls, we make that decision. As souls, we are the drivers in the vehicle, which is our bodies, our physical bodies. So when your soul makes that choice to ascend, you're going to naturally change physically. And I don't know if I want to get into it in this video, but it's my understanding that physically we're going to have what's called light bodies or crystalline bodies. We are carbon-based, and we're going to be changing or transforming into crystalline. So I do have some information from my guides and Eric and another mentor of mine, Jaden, who have given me information since September, October 2017. But I don't think I'm going to go into that right now because we have a limited amount of time and I don't want to confuse everybody, and that's not what the focus of this video is. But ascension, like I said, is a choice. So when you decide, okay, I want to ascend, you're going to naturally want to become a better being. I don't care if you're a human, if you're an ET or what, you're going to become a better individual. And by better, I mean kinder. I mean more thoughtful, more loving, more compassionate, more helpful, less greedy, less sad, less depressing, less angry, less hateful, but more loving overall. So when you ascend, what does it mean? It means that you're operating in a higher vibration naturally. You're happier, you're more joyful, you're more giving, you're more understanding, and again, more compassionate, you're more generous. And generosity doesn't mean money. If you're thinking it means money, then you're not in that vibration. What it means is that you're willing to give, whether it's time, love, compassion, a listening ear, a heart that's full and open and ready to give to others. It can mean a lot of things, but the one thing it does not mean is that you are giving money. Because a lot of times I've volunteered a lot in the past, and it was upsetting to me that people could just write out a check to donate it to an organization when in fact, and it was easy. I mean, it was over, it was quick. They got a tax deduction from it. But what was really needed was a volunteer, someone who would come and spend some time among those who were homeless or at a shelter where animals are taken care of. They need care. These people, whether it's putting together, okay, an example that's coming to my mind right now is when Haiti had the earthquake. There were a lot of people who just wrote out a check or they text a number to like the Red Cross, and that would automatically take $10 out of their account or whatever it was. And it was over for them. It was over in just seconds. All they had to do was text that number and boom, money went to the Red Cross. Did it actually go to Haiti? I don't know. It doesn't matter to me, because what's important is that those who were in Haiti received relief, received love, received food that they needed, received people who could come and build shelters for them. But just to hear and know that they were going through this devastation that happened in their tiny little island. The Dominican Republic shares the other half of the island. Were they as affected? No, you didn't see the Red Cross sending money to the Dominican Republic. You saw or heard that all this money was going to Haiti. A lot of people don't realize that that is the same island. I can go environmentally into more information about it, but I'm not going to do that. You can research it yourself. But it was more of an effort to play on our human emotions. And it's really sad, but that happens a lot. So as more and more tragedies happen, you're going to hear more and more ways for organizations to collect money to fund their business, because it's not a volunteer relief effort anymore. It's become a business, unfortunately. And I can tell you more examples of that. Personal examples was Girl Scouts. I'll probably get in trouble for saying that, but I learned as a Girl Scout leader that the organization had become a business, which is really sad, but that's what happens. It happens with our government. The government had started out as a good idea, and now it's become Big Brother, which is the opposite of what it needs to be. Anyway, so I'm going on a little tangent. But anyway, that was just an example, Haiti with the earthquake. And I heard or understand that Monsanto had donated a bunch of seed to the farmers in Haiti, and the farmers ended up burning the seed because the seeds were hybrid. And because they're hybrid, you can't just save the seed and replant it the following year, which is what the farmers were used to being able to do. And that created a dependence. Those farmers would have to be dependent on Monsanto to supply those seeds each year, year after year, for the rest of their growing lives. And the farmers said, no, we can't do this. So they actually burnt them in a protest to Monsanto, which was huge because Monsanto had given those seeds to them for free, which really there was a price attached to that. And that price was dependence on Monsanto. So that's just a couple of examples. I could go on and on and on, but so the ascension process, again, you're going, as we ascend, it's causing a separation. So those who are ascending, they're going to not get caught up in that emotional drama or fake news. I'll talk more about that. Those who are not ascending, they're going to be sucked into that more and more and more and more until finally there's this huge gap. And that's part of that separation process that biblically it's been talked about, the culling of the herd. It's happening naturally. So it's a choice. Are you going to continue to be caught up in that fear and that hate and that anger and that destruction? Or are you going to continue to move away from that and detach yourself from that fear? Because there's only two emotions really in our existence, in our realm, and that's love and that's fear. And you have a choice. Are you going to participate in love, or are you going to participate in fear? And when you don't allow fear to consume you, then you're going to naturally fill your heart with love. You can actually ask your angels and guides to fill your heart with so much love that fear can't dwell there. I actually do that every single day, twice a day, when I connect with my guides and my angels. And I recommend that for everyone. Just ask. To me, that was the most startling revelation after my awakening, was that all we have to do is ask. They can't interfere unless we ask. So ask for it and then believe. But they know the intention of your heart. They know the intention within you. And when it's not sincere and it's not genuine, you're operating in a state of fear or from a state of fear. When you're operating from a state of love, you're going to naturally attract that to you, just like the law of attraction, the LOA everyone hears about, the secret. It's not really a secret. It's just that intention that's inside of you. What do you intend to experience? And so it's a choice, again, choice. And so with that said, there are lower emotions, and there's grief, there's sadness, there's hatred, there's anger, there's jealousy, Skylar, there's revenge, there's regret, there's grief, there's all these emotions that don't make you feel good. When you don't feel good, you need to ground, number one. And once you ground, you're going to go, okay, I can breathe again. I can get through this. And then just ask for help. And when you do that, then pretty soon you're going to make a habit of it. You have to be consistent every single day. Ground, and then move forward, because that's going to allow you, it's going to free you up so that you can breathe again. And you're like, okay, I can do this. Or you have that realization that your thoughts manifest your reality. And when you manifest these negative emotions, you're going to manifest a negative environment around you and attract that to you. If you're grounded and you are starting to feel better, you're going to naturally make others around you feel better. And when you do that, they're going to want to hang out with you. They're going to want to spend time with you. They're going to want to say, yes, I'll go with you to have pasta. They're going to want to spend time with you because you make them feel good. And then if they make you feel good, it's going to be a win-win situation. And so anyway, I said a lot about that, but there's a whole list of emotions. Humans are very emotional creatures, very emotional beings, and we can't allow our emotions to get the best of us. Even some people can be too happy and they rub others the wrong way. There is such a thing. There's a happy balance. There's a good balance in between.
Yeah, I wanted to say that we do come here to be human, to experience all those emotions, and it's okay to experience those quote unquote negative emotions, but to not dwell in it.
Yes, exactly.
Not make it your life. Like you said, find a balance between, the love and whatever else you're experiencing as well.
Yes, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. It's a balance. So when we ascend, we're not going to, it's not going to be all rainbows and butterflies. We're going to have those emotions. We're going to experience those emotions. We're just not going to hang on to them for so long. They're not going to stick to us as easily. So what are the different dimensions? Dimensions are also vibrations, frequencies. It's all the same thing. They're just different words. Like we have words for, okay, a car, for example. We call it a car. We can call it a Ford. We can call it a Jeep. We can call it a Chevy. We can call it a truck. We can call it a van, a minivan. We can call it a sedan. We can call it a convertible. It's still a vehicle that gets us somewhere. So it's still the same thing: frequency, vibration, and dimension. It's just how we look at it. What color is it? How is it affecting our lives? So Ascension, Gaia or Aria moved into 5D, the fifth dimension. As of March 2017, she completed her transition. So we're, as humans, catching up. And we're still here. The earth hasn't been destroyed. It hasn't fallen apart. Yes, there's some earthquakes, there's some flooding, there's some melting, there's things that are going, wind storms, hurricanes, heavy snowstorms, heavy ice storms. Those are all the things that happen naturally as she tries to rebalance herself. She has a lot to go through. It's a birthing process, and we're a part of that because we live on the surface of the earth. We're going to experience those things as well. And when she did that, her frequency, her dimension, her vibration increased as well, moved up the ladder. And there's such a thing called the Schumann resonance. It's actually measured with scientific instruments to gauge the change, the resonance of the earth itself. And almost every day, people are so shocked that, oh my gosh, this is the highest it's ever been recorded. Well, it's going to be higher because the earth is naturally in that dimension now. And as it does that, frequency, vibration, dimension, it's a higher frequency, dimension, vibration. It's energy. Everything is energy. So when you get more energy, or you're moving in, I'm going to try to explain this. When you're moving into a higher energy, higher frequency, it gets hotter naturally. When, how I explain it to people is, if you were to go out and hold a power line in your hand, it will electrocute you, right? Because it's hotter, it's heat, it's higher energy. If your human body cannot withstand that physically, you're going to get electrocuted. You could die. Your heart is moved or works with energy. And when it stops beating, the EMTs will come and put paddles on your heart, shock you, use energy to get your heart started again, to jumpstart it. So you will be electrocuted alive again. And so that's what it is. We just don't, as humans, understand the whole process and how everything is so intricately working together. But as the earth moved into that higher dimension, that higher frequency, that higher vibration, is also getting hotter. More heat is generated. So a lot of you will feel spirit as heat. Myself, I feel spirit as cold. I'm just different. It's nothing. Eric's reassured me it's nothing wrong. There's nothing about it other than I feel things differently than others do. So as you feel spirit, it is hotter. It's hot, and it's a higher vibration, higher frequency. And so anyway, our planet is, so the point is, the planet itself, yes, it's getting hotter, but it's happening naturally. Yes, scientifically, humans have contributed to that. Yes, scientifically, it's a cyclical process. It happens in cycles. It gets hotter, and then the ice age, and then it gets hotter again, and then the ice age. It's happened for millions of years, and we do have documentation of that scientifically. The earth itself is a recorded history of that change. But now it's become concentrated. And so as it's become concentrated, it seems like it's really bad. And it can feel like it's really bad. But it's only bad from that perspective of fear. If you operate in that fear mode, you're going to panic. You're going to build yourself a bunker, a shelter underground. You're going to worry about your family. You're going to hoard food, or hoard clothing, or hoard money, or hoard whatever material things. But if you realize and you operate out of love and you ground yourself, you're going to connect naturally with your angels and guides. You're going to connect naturally with Gaia or Arya, and you're going to know that she and them are here to take care of you. There is nothing to fear. You're going to be provided for. And Eric has said that with the Ascension process. And one of the recordings that he has, I don't know which one it was, but he said that Ascension was going to be like we're on the median of a freeway and there's cars going by us, and we're like, hey, hi, and they can't see us, they can't hear us, and they don't know that we're there, but we can see them. And so that's going to be a lot, I believe, this is my personal opinion, a lot like for us who are ascending, how it is for spirit to communicate with us. They're there. They're always there. In fact, I heard that heaven, which is really home, is a lot like Facebook. They compared it to Facebook. That spirits are on Facebook. They're there. They're trying to communicate with us. And it's not until we connect to them that we realize, oh, there's more out there. There's more people on Facebook than just my profile or my wall, my own personal bubble that I'm in. And so it's like that. And I believe it's going to be like that when we ascend, that we're going to move into that higher vibration, that higher frequency, and others are not going to communicate with us because we're not going to, as an ascended being, participate in that fear mode that they're still stuck in, that they're still operating from, that they're still believing is real or reality. And so, talking about Facebook, ironically, this morning I woke up with a song, Listen to Your Heart. I couldn't remember who it was by. All I could hear was the words and the tune in my head playing around and around and around. So get ready for this session with Heather for all of you, I looked it up. And as I did that on YouTube, a sponsored commercial came on, and it was an ad for Facebook. And I actually wrote down, as I was listening, I wrote down what an individual on that advertisement said. And I don't know if I can get the advertisement, but if I can, maybe I'll share it in the group. But it said, it was talking about how Facebook was being bombarded with fake news, that everyone was reacting to this fake news. And I was shocked to hear Facebook admit that on their platform, they were being bombarded with fake news and that it was spreading rampant like some kind of disease. So they're trying to put a stop to that. They said that fake news, they were being bombarded with polarization, exaggeration, sensationalism, fake news all around the world on Facebook. And it said, the person said, because Facebook is being manipulated, Facebook is people, Facebook is being manipulated, Facebook has an obligation to eliminate that and have authentic communication. So, one thing I always thank Skylar for is his authenticity. And I know that communication is really important to the Sarsar. So as we are bombarded with these tragedies, with these disasters, with these events that are causing an outpouring of emotion, it's triggering more communication. We're not, in some ways, if we operate in fear, it's triggering isolation. And unfortunately, isolation and communication are on opposite ends of the spectrum. And so as we move towards love, we're going to want to reach out and communicate with those individuals and let them know that they're not alone. As you ground, you'll connect more with your guides and your angels, and you'll realize, as I realized myself, I'm not alone. I've never been alone. Even though I don't have family, I don't have anyone living with me, I realize I'm not alone in this. I'm not alone on this planet. And I can tell you a lot about how I had to learn that myself, because before my awakening, I went through what's called the dark night of the soul, which I didn't understand what that was at the time because I wasn't awake. You have to go through that. And I felt really, really, really alone, to the point where I didn't want to live on this planet anymore. Some of you can feel that way when you're not grounded. You're going to feel bored. You're going to feel a disconnection. You're going to feel like, all I do is get on this hamster wheel. I go to work, I come home, I go to sleep, I get up, I go to work, I come home, I go to sleep, I get up, I go home, come home, I go to work, come home, and go to sleep. And it's just this endless cycle, this hamster wheel that you're on. It's because you're too busy spinning in that slow and dying process, and you're not connecting. When you connect, and I'm talking about connection to Gaia, to Earth, when you connect, you're going to have a purpose. You're going to feel like there's more than just you in this world. And you're going to feel that connection with that love energy that Source has for you, that all of your guides and your angels have for you. Then you're going to begin to feel that connection and that love that others around you have for you. Hopefully it's a healthy environment, But if it's not, you're going to discard those individuals who are no longer healthy in your life. That's a process that's natural in this ascension that we're all going through. You're going to be getting rid of things that no longer serve you in a healthy way, that are no longer healthy for you, that are no longer good for you, that are no longer in your best interest, whether that's individuals, whether that's habits, whether that's emotions that are lower vibration, or whether it's beliefs that you have. You're being forced to get rid of those things so that you have and you can make room for things that do matter in your life, including individuals, including love, more love. We all need more love. And anyway, the message this morning that I got for all of you is listen to your heart. If you're feeling all those lower emotions, those difficulties in your life, listen to your heart. When you do that, when you become heart-centered, you're going to naturally connect or want to connect. You're going to have that desire to connect and ground. And so when you do that, you start to begin to have clarity. You start to hear what your angels and your guides have to say to you without having to use a medium, without having to go to a religious organization or whatever, because you're not going to need that middleman. And yes, I did just say that. I'm a medium, but I'm a middleman. We have a purpose. Yes, as a medium, we do have a purpose, but you shouldn't be dependent on us to give you the answers when you have the answers within yourself. You don't need a middleman. You can just ground and listen. So grounding, I've said a lot about that. But what is grounding? How do you do it? What does it do for you? So grounding is your root chakra. It's really the first of the major 7 that humans have. We have a lot of other energy centers, chakras, however you want to pronounce it. But the root chakra, that's your energy area of your vehicle, your your physical body, where energy is stored that has to deal with survival. That's like the most important thing. That's number 1 is, and it continues to be, survival. It's one of our greatest instincts is to survive as humans. And so it's the color red. It's the root chakra, and it's connected with earth energy. Surprise! No, it's not a surprise when you realize it. It all connects together. But how is it blocked? It's blocked by fear. What is all of this fake news on Facebook or on television or anywhere you turn, even from someone who you've been friends with for a long time? They're feeding you, oh, I just heard about this, or I watched this movie or this documentary about this, and I'm not talking about you, Heather. I'm talking about other people, because even I was told, I don't know the name of it, but it's some kind of movie where that's out right now where there was a pizza delivery person who blew themselves up. I don't know.
Oh, that's a good documentary.
Do you know the name of it?
I can look it up real quick.
Okay.
Go
So
ahead.
so some people were talking about this movie or documentary or whatever it was, and I have not watched the news since at least 2004, 2005. That's a really long time. I don't watch it. And because of that, I am out of the loop on a lot of things, but it's for my own benefit. I'm not dragged down or held back by fear. And anyway, these people were talking about this documentary or movie or whatever it was, and they were shocked that I hadn't heard about this pizza person who killed themselves. And I'm like, they were almost offended that I didn't have an opinion on it, that I didn't play into that disgust or that fear emotion or whatever. But I couldn't. It didn't stick to me. I didn't have any connection to it. And I'm glad that I didn't. But for them, it was life. It was who they were. It was an awareness in their reality that didn't exist in my reality. And that's what I was talking about with Ascension, that you're going to be like on the median, and things are going to be, people are going to be driving by you, and they're going to be talking about stuff, and you're going to hear it, but you're going to be standing still on this median and not know anything about it. It's not going to be in your reality. Those natural disasters are not going to be in your reality. Just like the Dominican Republic with Haiti, they share the same island, but it wasn't the reality. The Red Cross reality didn't include the Dominican Republic. It only included Haiti or Haitians. And that's a perfect example of what Ascension is going to be like. It's not going to be a new earth. It's going to be a new thought process. It's going to be a new way of living, a new lifestyle. It's going to be a new way of communicating that we've never done before, because as humans, we have been sucked into this fear mode for so long. We don't even have any way of knowing what it feels like to not be in fear mode. For many of us, that's the reality that we live in. So anyway,
Did you want to know the name of that documentary?
yes, I do.
It's called Evil Genius.
Evil Genius. That's
Yes.
it. Evil Genius.
I love crime documentaries, but I get what you're saying. I don't stay and dwell on them, in that emotion. I still enjoy them, but I watch it, I get over it, But
Yeah.
I can see what you're saying. People dwell on it, and it creates that fear, and that's all they talk about for weeks and weeks until they find the next thing to talk about that creates fear, and then it just spirals out of control.
Right.
So you have to learn to just enjoy what you enjoy, but don't create something out of nothing.
Yeah. It's like I'm getting like layers, cake layers.
Yeah.
Like it builds up. Each thing in your reality is a layer of cake. And as you build that layer of cake, it's going to get frosted. And what do you want that cake to taste like? So what I guess the message that I got was, our thoughts are energy. Okay? Our thoughts create our reality. So for you, when you hear, and I'm just going to use you as an example,
Okay.
When you hear the word evil genius, what goes through your mind? Are you reliving that documentary? Is it
No.
playing in your mind?
No, not for me.
Do you? So you don't
All I
think
think was,
about it.
oh, that was a good documentary. That's all I think. I don't think anything fearful about it or upsetting.
Does it flash through your mind pictures of that documentary though?
Yes, now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to say. You
Right.
don't think it affects you. You don't think that it lingers.
Right.
But in fact, it's got a place in your brain, your memory bank, which your memories are thoughts, your thoughts are energy. Okay. And so it really is there. It may not affect you as much, you don't think, as others. It doesn't cause that emotional reaction in you that it does in others. But in fact, that those visions are stored in your bank, your memory bank, your brain somewhere. And when you hear that, it's going to trigger and bring up those visuals of that documentary again. But for me, when I hear that, it's not there because I haven't allowed myself to participate in it. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to stop watching documentaries though.
No.
But it's something, but it brings your awareness to it. I understand that. It's something maybe I'll think about.
Yes.
before I watch something like that.
Yes. And that's the whole point of Ascension. It's a new way of thinking, it's a new way of being, it's a new lifestyle, and it's a choice. Do you want those pictures, those thoughts, those emotions, those whatever uh, stored in your brain? Do you want to have that historical information in your brain forever? Forever, really? Because we don't really have control over what our brain decides to remember, but we do have control over what we allow into our lives that our brain has to choose from to store those memories, if that makes sense. I hope
It does.
okay. So um anyway, so the root chakra is about survival, and it's really important if you're going to become ascended. You've got to start with the root chakra. You've got to start with number 1. So how can you get grounded? Because, okay, so I'll back up a little bit. If you start with trying to open up your crown chakra or your third eye and you haven't done the work that's required to ground your root chakra or to connect your root chakra, you're going to continue operating ungrounded. And when you do that, you're affected by fear, by insecurity, by a lack of something. You're going to always feel like you're missing something. And that's because you haven't done that work required for the root chakra. So the root chakra is red, and it's about acceptance and surrendering. So one of the things that I heard Eric Meadows say was, when you're meditating, just repeat the word allow. I allow. And when I heard that, I actually did it. I take Eric's advice. I listen. I try. I don't always, but I try. Eventually, he pounds it into me. But that day when I heard it, or the very next day, I was doing my meditation, and I spent probably a half an hour saying, I allow for this, I allow for this, I allow for that, I allow. And I just said all these things that I really feel or felt that was my intention that I allowed to come into my life. And he responded in a huge way, but I won't get into that. But he knew that it sank in with one individual, and that individual was me. So anyway, it's the earth energy. The root chakra is. It's the color red. So how can you ground? The easiest thing, well, first of all, it's your intention. What is your intention? I allow myself to connect with the earth, with Mother Earth, with Mother Nature, with Gaia, with Arya, whatever you want to call her. It's divine feminine energy, and you're connecting with that. So the color red, you can wear red underwear. Okay. You can sleep in red sheets. You can sleep on a red pillowcase. But your root chakra is really at the end of your tailbone, in that region of your physical body. So by wearing the red underwear, you're actually bringing that energy or attracting it to you. You can paint your toenails red. That's another trick that I've done over the years. I didn't even realize I was doing it until about a year ago. But someone was reading my energetic body, and they were like, "Oh, boom, 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 boom," and they were saying that I was aligned, and I was like, "Yay! I've been trying to trying to align, but I had no way of knowing that I was aligned other than I felt good. I felt better." But they pointed out the fact that my toenails were painted red. And so I was like, yeah, I do that every day. But I didn't realize that was something that helped me be grounded. I'm not saying that all of you have to paint your toenails red. It's your choice, but that's just something that has helped me. And what can you do physically? You can go for a walk. Even if it's 10 minutes out, 10 minutes back, that's 20 minutes that you've spent connecting. Your feet are actually connecting to the ground. And Emma shared a video on her Rolling with Emma Facebook group about grounding. There is actually an individual who discovered that if he ran an electrical wire from his bed to the outside, through his bedroom window to the ground, that he actually could physically feel a difference. It helped him. He alleviated a lot of like joint pain, inflammation, all these physical symptoms that his body was having just by having that wire connected to the ground outside his house. And so he has built a business around it, about grounding, using energy, because our bodies are energy. Everything is energy. If that's something that you learn today, is knowing that your body is energy. It's driven by energy. It's motivated by energy. Emotions are energy. Thoughts are energy. Everything, feelings are energy. If that's something that you need to learn today, learn that. So you can go for a walk. You can take a bath. And if you're going to do that, pour in a cup of Epsom salts. You can buy Epsom salts at the grocery store, the drugstore. They're magnesium sulfate, and just pour it in your bath water and just surround yourself, soak in it until the water turns cold. Enjoy that, because water is a conductor of electricity. And so you can do that. You can go for a swim, whether it's a community pool or a public pool, or your pool in your backyard, or a kiddie pool, I don't care. You're in water. You can, if you're lucky enough, you live near the ocean, you can put your feet in it. Your feet, energy moves up through the earth, through the ground, into your body, through your feet. So you can sit as if you're in a meditation or guru pose or whatever it is, with your legs crossed, next to a river or a stream or the ocean or whatever. Even if it's your bathtub, but don't be running the water down the drain. Just as you're getting your water in your bathtub, you can do that. What else do I do? Just walk across green grass with your bare feet. How long has it been? Just ask yourselves that question. How long has it been since I have removed my shoes and walked on green grass? For some of us as humans, we are apartment dwellers. We are surrounded with concrete or pavement or parking lots. And the parks that we do have are polluted with hypodermic needles or other sharp objects. We've gotten to a point where we're not connected because of that separation with the concrete or the pavement. We're not on dirt. We're not on grass. And green just happens to be the color of the heart chakra. One of the colors. It's actually pink, which is the higher heart. And so that green grass connects you with more love. You feel love. You feel it. When you walk with your bare feet on nice green grass, you feel that. You feel that love. You feel that connection to the earth. And there's no way you can avoid it. You will feel it. I'll guarantee you, you will feel it. But look around your environment. What are you surrounded with? Is your bathroom just a shower? Do you not even have a bathtub? As humans, we're like that. Going back to the issue that I have with Skylar, you know, I don't have people around me that I can just go and have dinner with all the time, every single night. But there's a lot of us who, when we are at home eating our meals, they're a TV dinner, basically. They're fast food, food thrown at us through a car window from someone who's angry or upset about their job, their low wage, or the fact that they were required to work 10 or 12 hours, or they had to come to work early. I mean, they're not happy about the job that they're doing. And so that unhappiness is being given to you, served to you in a paper bag. And do you want that? But the point that I was trying to make with that is, even in our family units, it's fallen apart. We don't sit down to have meals together. We don't communicate. We don't, our food, I mean, we gobble it down. Or we sit in front of the television as we're feeding our, selves, shoveling it in, and we have no connection to that nutrition that's going into our bodies. We don't even give it a second thought about what that food is, or even if it is nutritious. We're just eating like robots, hypnotized by the television that we're watching, or by the car that we're driving as we're eating our French fries behind the steering wheel. Just be more conscious, be more aware of it. That's really the message here. It's not bad, it's just not good. Okay, if there is a good and a bad thing, but just be more aware. It's awareness that really is important when you're going through this ascension process. It's a change in lifestyle. It's a change in thoughts. It's a change in beliefs. It's a change in habits. Beliefs create our habits. Habits are creating our reality because we consistently do those things. So try to be more consistent about the things that are better for your body, better for your mind, better for your soul, better for your being all around. Anyway, so what else do I do, or what else can you do? Meditate. That's probably the easiest thing, but the easiest thing for me to say, but the hardest thing for some of you to do. But just keep in mind that there's two different types of meditation. There's active meditation and there's passive meditation. Passive is where you're sitting cross-legged doing the You don't have to do the but just try to listen with your heart. That was really the message. The song that was playing in my head this morning was to tell you guys, listen with your heart. As you're having those thoughts come through, say, acknowledge them and send them on. Say, okay, moving on. Pay attention. What kind of thoughts are coming to your mind as you're sitting there in meditation? Are they troubling thoughts? Are you stressed about something? If so, what are you doing that you can alleviate that stress? What are you doing that's causing that stress? What can you do to change that? Because everything, the one thing that's guaranteed is change. So what can you do to change that? And then the other thing is maybe put on some music if you need to try to distract yourself from those negative thoughts. That's a good way, but it needs to be healthy music, because music sound is a vibration, and your heart, okay, we'll go back to that. Vibration is frequency, it's energy, it's all the same thing. Your heart runs by energy. So the music that you're listening to, that sound, that frequency, is going to change your heartbeat. It's going to have your heart beat in that frequency. What frequency are you listening to? So just like we were talking about with that documentary, I've already forgotten the name of it. What was it again?
Evil Genius.
Evil Genius. Thank you, Evil Genius. Even the title should tell you something about it. But as you are listening to that, what's the memory that you're imprinting on your physical body, on your brain, on your ears? What is it that you're imprinting? What is it that you're creating a lasting memory of? What's the quality of it? What do you want it to be? What as that happens at a cellular level, we're getting down to even that. What are you creating as an environment for your cells? Because your cells are continuously regenerating every single moment of every single day. And in fact, scientifically, you're a new being physically every year. You're not the same being physically that you were when you were 3 years old, that you were when you were 10 years old, that you were when you were 21 years old, that you were when you were 30 years old, that you were when you were 40 years old, or 50, or 60, or 70, or 80. You're a different being cellularly. So what is it that you're imprinting on those cells to create that future self of you? That's really where I want you to become more aware of. That every moment, every day, you have an opportunity to change. Are you changing to a higher vibration, or are you degrading? Are you focusing on fear? Are you focusing on love? Hopefully it's more healthy. And if it's not, create an environment where it is more healthy, and you will naturally gravitate or attract that environment that you want for yourself, that you want for your family, that you want for your friends, that you want for others. And as we do that, we're going to become a collective of higher frequency. And that's really what the new earth is. The other message that Aria had for me was, we will always have enough. She will always provide for us. That's what's important, because that's what she was created for. She was created to be our home away from home. And we're only here for a short period of time. That may change as part of this ascension process. I'm not going to go into that, but that has to deal with the light body or the crystalline body. But we need to take care of her. As we choose to love her more, out of respect and appreciation, she's going to continue to provide for us, and we'll always have a way to survive. We don't have to have all these material things that we have. That's our choice. Can we go without them? Absolutely. There's a lot that humans can go without. And Skylar's people can prove that. They're not savages like I thought they were, living out on the desert with nothing. They're not hermits, they're not hobos, they're not cave dwellers like I had in my head. They actually are very technologically savvy. They're also spiritually savvy. They are not God. They are not able to predict the future. In fact, no one really is, because the future is undetermined. There are certain things that are in place to occur, and they will occur. When they occur, that's the difference. That's the part where we cannot predict, because time doesn't exist. Time is only in our reality. As we ascend, time is going to speed up. Time is going to become insignificant, which is why Heather and I can talk for 2 hours and it feels like maybe 30, because we're operating in that higher frequency where we're talking about love, where we're talking about compassion, where we're talking about giving you guys information that you need to help develop yourselves, and where it's coming from a place of love. It's coming from our heart. We're not talking about fear. We're not talking about hate. We're not talking about those things that cause drama in our lives. We're talking about things that are helpful tools that you can use in order to continue to be a healthier individual. So, do you want to add anything else, Heather, with that?
Well, I just wanted to throw an offer out there. If anybody needs some help with getting out of depression, or if they have a lot of anxiety or anything, you can always message me and I can give you some tips, because that's really where my journey has been in the last year or so, trying to get out of that. It's been a challenge, but it's been going really well lately, so I can offer some help to other people. So if you want to message me, feel free.
Thank you, Heather. And yes, absolutely. We often don't think that we can just reach out to someone. I do want to say that we're not doctors. We're not medical doctors. Some may need that. Some of you listening to this may need that. But look around in your environment And as an environmental scientist, I realize fundamentally that the environment both can cause something, but also has the solution for it. So what is it in your environment that's triggering that? It may be something that you're eating, your diet that you need to look at. It may be a family member or a friend or someone who's living in your home or you're sharing a home with or sharing space with that's triggering that. It may be something that as you were being created in the womb, your mother or even your dad, there's scientific evidence that proves that as well, that the diet that they were eating contributed to what you're experiencing now. But a lot of it has to do with your environment. So take a look at that and then ask yourself, what is it that I'm doing, or what is it that's happening in my environment that's causing this? And then ask yourself, is there something that I can do? Because I want to empower all of you. I want to empower you to know that you don't necessarily need a pill for every single thing. In fact, I know someone right now who is suffering from a lot of ailments. Originally, this individual had one, went to the doctor, got a prescription. Well, that prescription triggered something else and didn't really help with that initial ailment that they were suffering from, but it actually contributed. And now they have like 5, 6 different things going on. And the doctor who's supposed to be treating it can't figure out why this individual is having this problem and wants them to try a different pill. So I know that that individual is not alone in that boat. There's a lot of you, maybe even listening to this, who have gone through that same thing. But if that individual had just looked at their diet, they were so busy that they said they didn't have time to change their diet or look at their diet or do anything different. They just wanted to try this pill and see if that would work. Well, it didn't work. That's been a month and a half now, maybe 2 months that they have been trying it, when in fact, I gave them an herbal remedy that I told them, hey, here's this doctor, here's what you can do, try that. And they said they were too busy, but they thought that the pill would have been faster. And in fact, I believe it's prolonged it. So who knows? Had they tried the herbal remedy, it may have helped more faster, but they may have actually begun to see a difference, because when it's a natural remedy, it will take more time. But a lot of times, humans, we want fast food. We want things to happen quickly. And when it doesn't, then we get frustrated or we get angry about it. A lot of us on our spiritual path, our awakening, our ascension, we want it right now, myself included. There's a lot of things that I wanted right now, and they didn't happen. And so I was really frustrated. I didn't understand, but I'm trying to be more open and more understanding that this is all a natural process that we're all going to go through. And so just keep that in mind. But anyway, anything else you want to add, Heather?
Yeah, if you think you're too busy and you don't take the time to slow it down and connect with yourself, nothing is ever going to change. You have to connect with yourself and figure out what's going on inside of you. There's nothing outside of you that is going to help you.
Absolutely. Again, it goes back to the heart. Yep. Listen to your heart. Go within. What are you feeling? What does it feel like? What is it? What are your thoughts that are creating those feelings? You know, what is it? Because there's always a root cause of it. Again, goes back to the root chakra. Ground yourself. Then you'll start to get clarity. You'll start to connect with those higher realms. And as you do that, you're going to be a natural channel for that energy to flow, but that energy has to start flowing from the root up. It doesn't happen the other way around. And so it is a process, and you can't skip and go from kindergarten to senior graduation in school. You've got to go through all those other grades and lessons, because life is all about lessons. It's all about learning. I learned that. I've been doing tarot readings for over 30 years now, and the instructor that I had, she's wonderful. She's world renowned now. But I also learned astrology from her. So I've been doing astrology for 30 years as well. And one of the things, the most basic things that I went away with after taking some classes from her and learning how to do those things was, life is all about lessons. We are here to learn lessons. We are here to have experiences that teach us lessons. We're here as individuals to play a certain role to help someone else learn a lesson. And hopefully together we graduate. And that's really what Ascension is. It's graduation. We're here to graduate. Are we going to graduate? Some of us will, some of us won't. Some of us will go on to carry out that education on a different planet or a different realm. It's still learning. You don't stop learning when this life ends. But this life that we're living right now on this planet is about these important lessons. And it's such a short period of time, but because it's short, it's very intense. We get some very intense lessons. And do we learn them? Hopefully. If you're not, look at your environment, look at yourself, go within and say, what am I here to learn? What am I here to experience? What is it trying to teach me? What are these lessons that are happening over and over and over and over again? What is that pattern? And if you see a pattern, what can you do to stop that pattern if you need to stop it? What is it that you did not learn from that last lesson, or the lesson before that that was very similar, or the lesson before that that was very similar? What is it? What is that pattern? So I know that some of us, I do want to say before we go, some of us are going through a period of time. Well, all of us are going through it. Some of us are more aware of it. We're going through a period of time right now where there's a lot going on, a lot of negativity, because it's that culling of the herd, that separation. Are we going to operate in fear, or are we going to operate, or, well, fear, fear or love? And some of you have been experiencing some really negative things. Ask yourself, what is it that I'm doing? Am I inviting it? What is my intention? What am I here to learn? I myself, and I'm just going to share this, the last 2 nights, last night included, I haven't slept very well. The first night I slept, but I woke up feeling like I hadn't slept at all. And then this morning I woke up and I realized that all through the night I had woke up at different periods of time. I looked at my watch even to see what time it was, but I didn't sleep soundly. And I noticed, I sleep with crystals on my bed. And one of the things that I noticed was that I have a smoky quartz, you can see that I sleep with. And I noticed, and normally I'm a sound sleeper, but I noticed throughout the night that that crystal ended up in my hand. It's normally around my head or somewhere, like in my pillow, but it ended up in my hand several different times, even though when I woke up, I intentionally put it away from my hand, like took it out of my hand, let it go, and then I would wake up and it was in my hand again. But smoky quartz is about letting go of negativity, letting go of anyone's negativity. So if you need some help, crystals can help you. They're going to magnify the energy that's already there. And so smoky quartz is one that is to remove negativity. So if you have a lot of negativity in your life, you can do that. Some of you who were at the event, my gift to you was an ancient crystal that is called obsidian. And I gathered that from a location near my home. It's from an ancient volcano that's over 2 million years old, or erupted that long ago. Anyway, it's really, really old. I believe that's how old it was. And anyway, it's an ancient volcano and it created that obsidian. So search for it. I know it's out there, but use that. If you were at that event, use that obsidian that I gave you and put your intention into it to remove that negativity that's both within you and around you in your environment. And it works. It really does. If you need to sleep with it, sleep with it. But you can also cleanse it and charge it. And cleansing it, there's different ways, but one of the ways you can do it is just put it in some sea salt. Make sure the sea salt has been gathered ethically or friendly, because there's some mining that's going on that's not healthy for Gaia or Arya. And because it's not healthy for her, it's not healthy for you, because that energy is carried over. That memory is imprinted on that crystal. That intention that those miners had, or that company that had that mined it from the earth, it's carried over. It's carried into your life. So think about that. Think about the food that you eat and how that's grown or harvested or transported to you or stored or made. Think about it. Put some thought into it. And then, so obsidian is a really good crystal. Again, to the root chakra, carnelian, it's red. It's more orange color, but it's really red. Orange is just a filter of red, and actually attracts that yellow, which is a solar chakra. So red and yellow create orange, but carnelian is considered a root chakra crystal.
Is that it?
Yes, there you go. Yes, carnelian. And it's also a stone, a crystal that can help cleanse other crystals. So that will help you. And then with obsidian or even smoky quartz or carnelian, you can put it out in the sunlight. That won't harm it. Some crystals you can't put in the sun because it's too much heat. It's too much of a high frequency, and it can fracture that crystal, and you don't want to do that. So if you're going to have it in the sunlight, do it during a period of time where the sun is not directly shining on it, either in the morning between 9 and 11, or in the evening between 4 and 7 p.m. So the heat is not as intense, but you want some sunlight on it just to get some fresh air. It's kind of like you know, your crystals are like you. If you get too much heat, you're going to get overheated, you're going to get heat stroke, you're going to get sunburnt. You can crack, cause wrinkles in your face or your body, but it can also burn you, and you don't want that. So think about that as you're putting your crystal out. Would you sit in that sunlight for that period of time and not be affected by it? So you want it to be healthy. Anyway, the other one is some tiger's eye. That, I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, it's tiger's eye. And then I have, I don't know, let's see. Oh, hang on. Hopefully the screen didn't go blurry. I had to reach it. But I have tiger's iron. This is just another crystal that I have. It has hematite or hematite in it, as well as the tiger's eye, and that will help. Hematite or hematite is another grounding crystal that is especially good for blood, which is why hemostasis, the hematite, it's blood. It's the blood of the earth. Iron is the blood of the earth. If you think about it in that way, our blood itself needs iron, right? To be healthy. The earth has that iron in it. It's like the veins of the earth, the blood vessels of the earth, if you want to think about it in that way. And so it's to provide for you a way of protecting yourself, a way of grounding yourself, a way of connecting that root of yourself with the root of the earth, the ground of the earth, the center of the earth. The other way you can do grounding is also to visualize your heart center with a gold or silver or iridescent cord, whatever, energetic cord, white cord going down into red, even a red cord, for the root chakra, going down into the center of the earth, and then wrapping itself around the core of the earth and sticking its little claws into the core of the earth. That's what I do when I do my meditation. And grounding and grabbing hold of the core of the earth. And then you're connecting yourself to Gaia, to Arya, to Mother Earth, Mother Nature, to who you are, how you became. Your carbon body was created from Earth. So anyway, hopefully that helps and gives you guys some information. But what's most important is that you don't go outside yourself or try to get a middleman or a pill to solve a lot of your issues, that you go within. That's really where you need to go, is go within. What is it that you're doing, or what can you do to change it? Anyway, I guess one of the notes that I have is to also, those of you who are trying to get answers from the Sarsar about what's going on in your world, what's going on in our world, what's going on in their world, you can do that with their world. But I want to just ask you, because this was an important conversation that Heather and I had, is what did you do before the Sarsar, before you knew about the Sarsar, before they were a part of your reality? How did you get those answers? If you're trying to get the Sarsars to give you answers, what did you do before Sarsar Stardust was created? How did you get those answers? Just ask yourself that. They don't always have the answers for you. So how did you get those answers before they came into your life? Was there anything else you wanted to add, Heather, to that?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So two other things that I have. One is a story about a mouse. I'll tell you about that. But the other thing was, it has to do with the Sarsars and how some are wanting to, they're treating them like God, that they have all the answers, when in fact they don't. They're a part of this ascension process just like we are. And I guess I was going to go into the different dimensions, but maybe that will have to be a different video. But when it has to do with healing yourself. If you have a problem with your computer and you take it in to get it fixed, do you ask that technician what kind of car you should buy? Do you ask that computer technician who you should date or marry or how many kids you should have? No, they're just there to fix your computer, and they're going to tell you, no, I'm just here to fix your computer. If you go to the dentist, are you going to ask the dentist career advice? What should I do for work? I'm bored. Are you going to ask them who you should date, who you should marry, how many kids you should have? Well, you could probably have that conversation with your dentist. Are you going to really heed their advice, your dentist? Well, maybe if they know the individual that you're going to be dating or you're going to marry or whatever, or the car salesman, maybe you would take their advice. But honestly, it all comes from within. How does it make you feel? If it's not making you feel good, don't do it. Listen to your heart. If it makes your heart happy, great, do it. If it doesn't, don't. It's really as simple as that. And if you're confused about anything, ask your guides and your angels for help. Listen and listen to them. When they give you advice, listen. That's probably the biggest thing that I had to learn, is they would tell me something. I'm like, oh no, 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 that cannot be happening. It can't be that way. No, no, I am a scientist. It's not in my reality. It doesn't exist. This is just too much information for me, or this can't be real. And I really didn't want to listen to some of the information that they were giving me. Some of it, I'm still waiting for answers to happen. But the biggest lesson for me was to listen. If I'm going to ask them for help, if I'm going to ask them for guidance, or I'm going to ask them for information, I need to be willing to listen to it. I need to be willing to listen to the answers that I'm getting. I also need to be willing to understand that time doesn't exist, that time is not in their reality, just as it will eventually not be in ours. I have to understand that when they say soon, it's not tomorrow, it's not today, it's not anything except what it is, and that's soon. Soon could be anytime. I also have to be willing to accept that the answers they're giving me is for my highest good. But I also have made sure that every day, twice a day, consistently, I'm setting intention. I'm creating a protective environment. I'm asking for psychic manipulation to be removed from my life. I am trusting in them to give me the information that I need. I'm not asking someone else anymore for them to be my middleman. What I would do is get confirmation. Is I have the information. Is this valid? Is this happening? Is this what you're getting? If it's not, recheck in with my guides, with my angels, and say, what's going on here? You know, is this real? Is this happening? And if I get the same thing and it's consistent, then the other person needs to be more grounded, more in touch with their team, the answers that they're getting, set up more protection, set up and request that the psychic manipulation is not happening, because that's part of the culling of the herd. If we are not grounding, if we are not setting proper intention, if we are not asking for protection, we're going to believe a lie. We're going to believe in something that's coming through that is there to deceive us, is there to get us off the path that we're supposed to be on, to distract us, to create drama in our lives, to create that fake news, to create fear in us, to create anything other than what we're here to do. And as important people in this ascension process, we're being targeted to be deceived, to fall for those things, to get caught up in that drama. So I'm just going to leave it at that and let you know that if you're getting information that's causing fear or sounds like fear, you need to reconsider the source. You need to get grounded and ask for it to be removed from your life. Ask for that manipulation to end, because everything is your intention. If you, I remember early on in the Channeling Eric blog group, there was an individual who came in and made a comment saying that a spirit had tried to have their way with them and blamed it on Eric. And I had just started connecting with Eric, and I only knew his energy as love and as support and caring and good and truth. Yes, he's a practical joker, but when it comes down to it, he's giving you the truth. If it's coming through from an individual who is grounded, who has set up that protection, who does it on a consistent basis, daily, you cannot go a day without being protected. In fact, my team gave me a word to protect myself immediately, and I have to use it every single day, multiple times a day, to protect myself from manipulation or from harm because of the work that I'm here to do spiritually. And I know from personal experience that it is effective, and that it's possible that some of you are in that category where you're here to do really important work. And if you have not protected yourself, you're going to fall prey to that manipulation or to that deception or that drama or that fear. It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. Or you're not grounded. You're going to be manipulated, and you're going to hear information that's meant to get you off track, to cause that fear in your life. But anyway, this individual blamed it on Eric, and I knew for a fact that it wasn't Eric. But I also knew for a fact that all they had to do was tell it to go away, tell it to leave, that they did not want any part of that. So that's one incident. But I also, at one time last year, I was doing readings, and I do readings for walk-ins. They come to see me in my office. And so I rent space from someone. So I never know who's going to come in. But this individual came in. It was a female, and she was homeless, and she was walking by and came in for help. And they sent her to me because they thought I could handle that, which I did. But she didn't have any money to pay me. But that's not what I was there for. I was there because the universe, or whatever you want to call it, source, knew that I would say, yes, I will help you. You don't need to pay me. Even though that's something that I do for pay, it was something that I knew she needed. But she explained to me, because I asked her, I said, well, what are you wanting? Are you wanting a session? She said, no, I'm homeless. I don't have any money. I can't afford to pay you. So I just told her, she explained to me that she had a spirit who was causing harm in her life and making her feel crazy, because she could hear them talking to her, she could feel them around her, and they were saying negative things, and it was causing her emotional distress, and she thought she was crazy, but it was creating that craziness in her life. And so through talking with her, that's what came out, that it was actually a spirit that had attached themselves to her and was causing these problems. And so I just said to her, you cannot give your power away. And she was afraid that they were just going to kill her and take over her body. And I said, no, you have it within yourself to get that power back. Don't give it away so freely. Don't give it away or give up or doubt that you don't have it within yourself. And I said, then ask for help. You're not alone. So ask your angels, ask your guides to help you get rid of this individual. Tell them to go away, that you do not want to participate in this. You no longer agree to that, whatever your intention was prior to experience a ghost or a haunting or the other side, because some of us are in that mindset where we want to have those experiences, we want to have those encounters with ghosts or spirits or hauntings or whatever, because we don't realize the consequences, and some are not friendly. And so we invite them in with our intentions, but we can also ask them to leave with our intention. So just send that individual away and say, I no longer participate in this, and then ask for Archangel Michael to come in and help you, because that's the strongest archangel there is for getting rid of things that need cleansing, need to be removed from our lives, that we don't want to experience anymore. And he's more than happy to help us. That's what he's there for. That's his mission. That's his sole purpose. And so anyway, she did the things. There was more to it, but she did that. And I ended up running into her at the library a few months later, 4 to 6 months, I'm guessing. And yes, she was still homeless, but she wasn't. She was healthier. She glowed. I could see that she was changing, and she recognized me. And I felt bad that I recognized her outside of that private room that we were in, and I didn't really want her to know that I recognized her, but she recognized me. And I said, "How are you doing?" And she said, I'm still homeless, but thank you, because I'm no longer haunted by that ghost," is what she called it, that man. um, and I did what you said. I told him to leave, and I didn't want to do that, and I got that power back, and thank you for that. So I want you guys to know that you have the power within yourselves to send those spirits away, to send those ETs away, to send that negativity away. You don't have to experience it. Empower yourselves. Go within, ask for help from your guides, your angels. That's what they're there for. They signed up for that while you're having this human experience, to help you. So all you need to do is ask, then trust that they're going to do it, and believe, and then you'll receive it. So with that said, then the mouse story kind of goes along with that. Where I live, my house has a basement that has rooms in it, bedrooms and things. And with that, there's windows that go to the outside. And those windows, some of you don't have basements, but so I'm going to explain this, but the window has what's called a window well, and it's just a metal that blocks the dirt from coming in through the window. And one day, this window is really large, and one day I noticed my cat just jumped up in the window and she's watching it. I actually have a recording of it. But this little mouse had ran across the ground, the grass, ran across the ground and fallen into that window well, and was running around in circles, like in a panic, like, okay, I know this isn't right. This isn't normal. This doesn't feel good. How do I get out of here? I'm stuck in here. Ah, and I was running around, and my cat got my attention because the cat was watching the mouse running around. The cat didn't really realize what it was, but it was something that caught my cat's attention. So then I realized that it was this mouse had fallen down in this window well. And so I opened up the window and was able to get the mouse and flick it up enough that it landed on the ground again, and it ran off. And it was still out a distance, and I saw it, so I knew that it had landed safely. And I was trying to do it as gently as I could, because I just got it like a piece of paper and like anyway, was able to get it out of the window well. And I just wanted to compare that to us as humans. We're sometimes like the hamster wheel. We're running around in that window well, and more drama comes. The rain comes. Oh my gosh, it's gonna flood us out. Oh my gosh, we're gonna drown. What am I gonna do? And at the same time, there's this cat, or our guides, watching us run around in this window well. We're going around in circles, and we forget that, oh my gosh, all we need to do is ask our spirit guides, our angels, for help. And they're going to take out this piece of paper and lift us up and flick us out of that window well, so that we can get off and get back on the track, get back on that green grass, get grounded again, and go on our merry way on our spiritual path where we're supposed to go. But we forget, we forget that they're watching us. We forget that they're there to help us. I guess would be the guides and the angels, and my cat would be the fear, that the cat would eat the mouse. That fear is there. It's real if we allow it. But me, as the guide or the angel for that little mouse, took out that piece of paper and got that mouse out of the window well, and didn't allow my cat to eat the mouse, or that fear to eat up that human that's stuck in that window well, or in that hamster wheel of life. So just think about that. I don't know, it's a simple story, but it really happened. And so where that mouse went, I don't know. still alive. It's not in that window well, but it just happened to fall down the window well by accident. It was just going through its life and got stuck in that well. And that's what happens to us sometimes. Sometimes we're going about our lives and we get sucked into that fear mode, or we fall down that well of despair or deception or drama so easily that we don't even realize that we're in it until we're in it. And how do we get out? We just have to ask for help. And that mouse, through its intention, was asking for my help to get it out of the window well. And I knew what to do. And a lot of times our spirit guides and our angels, they know exactly what to do, but they also know what we want to experience in our lives. But what do we want to go through? Because there's lessons that we need to learn. A lesson is don't get so close to the window well that you're going to fall in. Don't get so close to that documentary that you're going to fall in and have those visual memories imprinted on your brain. Don't get so close to that television set that's broadcasting the news, or that Facebook that's causing all kinds of deception and extortion, or what did they call it? The manipulation, the exaggeration, the polarization, the sensationalism, all of that. Don't get so close to it that you get sucked in, down into that drama, that you can't find your way out. And if you are in that already, ask your angels and your guides to help you get out that piece of paper and get you out of that well so that you can go on with your life, get back on track. So anyway, that's just what I wanted to share. So, my gosh, anything else?
No, those were great stories. I appreciate you sharing them. You say everything that I'm thinking, so I'll just let you talk. That was great.
I know we had a whole conversation last week, and Heather said, "Oh, we need to have this recorded. Remember what we're talking about." I don't remember.
Yeah.
But there are times when we wish that we had a recorder going. So I had her schedule a time with me so that I could just block it out and we could just talk. But I feel like I'm doing all the talking today, so sorry. In fact, Skylar's been really quiet. He didn't even really talk much when I asked him. So I don't know.
I know. I had all these questions for him, and I guess he doesn't want to do that today.
I don't know. I think he's in recovery mode.
Okay.
He just said, "I'm sorry." He said, I guess after listening to her, that I realized I got caught up in my own drama. So they're a lot like humans. We're all human. We can get caught up in something that has nothing to do with us, but we make it something to do with us. We make ourselves a part of it. Yeah. So we
And
just,
there's nothing wrong with that.
no.
That's just something that he went through, and like you said, a lesson. Maybe he'll learn from that in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, we're all learning. We're all learning. Skylar and I have been through so much, and everything that we've been through has helped us to learn and to grow and to understand, create a different perspective, a different awareness. Because now, for me, I see things through his eyes. I see things through non-human eyes that I haven't been able to do prior to my encounter with him. He's now trying to understand and have a perspective through human eyes, what it's like for me. I don't have that community support. I don't have that habit of sitting down and having meals with others that are just a part of my community. We don't do that, but it really made me realize that I don't have that. So it was a lesson for me as well. I don't have that. And so I was reaching out for a way to have that. And unfortunately, it was with another male, but I didn't have anything to do with that male. I just said, okay, well, then let's do it. And we just had the most boring conversation to me. Yeah, it wasn't, yeah. And we both went our separate ways when it was over. But yeah, it was pasta. So anyway, but Skylar knows that, but he still has to heal. He has to, go, he has to work through it. And I can feel that he is. But again, he's just really quiet. So we all have our days when we're more talkative than others. This just happens to be one of those days where he's going to be more introverted. So, but anyway, and it does help if you have questions for him. But he and I were, it's just one of those days where we haven't really connected. I realized he wasn't a part of my meditation, that energy that I normally feel. And, he responded saying that he was reading. So I was upset, like, hey, what happened? And then I realized it had affected him more than he thought it would, me having dinner with another male. But he's working through it. So anyway, let me see. So, I did want to say there was a quote that the greatest discovery of our generation is that beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes. As you think, so shall you become. Again, the greatest discovery of our generation is that beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes. As you think, so shall you become. So when you are surrounding yourselves with negativity or negative thoughts or fearful thoughts, you're going to create or become more fearful, more negative, more in that realm, in that dimension, the lower vibrations. And so surround yourself with things that feed you in a healthy way, that actually are nutritional for you, both spiritually and physically. Do those things, and hopefully that will help. But other than that, I think that's everything. But just know that you're not alone, that you're, because I had to deal with that. I thought, both my parents had passed away. I was raised by my grandparents, and both of them had passed away. And I have siblings, but I've never been close to them because they are all half siblings. And so I never really lived with them for very long throughout my life because I was raised by my grandparents and they were raised by other people. So I felt like I was all by myself. And it wasn't until I had my awakening, it wasn't until I was able to communicate with my angels and guides and then start communicating with other beings. At first, it was people in spirit, those without physical bodies. And then I started communicating with ETs, which was new for me. But I realized they're around me all the time. I'm not alone. In fact, it's really hard sometimes because I realize I don't have any privacy, not even in the shower or in the bathroom. When I think I'm all by myself, or I think that the thoughts that I'm having are just in my head, they're not. I realize now that they go out like ripples. They just continue on, and I'm sending out those thoughts. Again, thoughts are energy, so I'm sending out that energy continuously as I'm thinking. That energy is flowing out, and it's affecting others around me. It's affecting others who are not in physical form. It's affecting them. So think about it. How is your energy affecting that area around you, outwards, out farther than you can even conceive? It goes on forever, ever. How is that energy going out? What are you sending out? What is that email? What is that love letter? Are you sending a love letter? Are you sending a hate letter? What are you sending out? What is it that message that you're giving? What is that intention that you're sending out to the universe, to those who are around you, those who are sharing your physical space? your home, your work environment, your commute environment. Where are you at? What are you doing? What are you sending to them to either help them or harm them? Are you responsible for that? Sometimes, yes, because we're all connected. We're all one consciousness, and what you're thinking affects other people. And because of that, that's you're the creator. We're all co-creators. So anyway, I just want to say that. So you're not talking very much, Heather.
I'm sorry, my allergies just like flared up. I just sneezed. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. They were cutting the grass outside before, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
all stuffy now.
Oh, all right. Well, if there's nothing else that you have to add, I guess.
No, I think we should wrap it up. I think it's been about 2 hours, so.
Oh my gosh, again. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I know you blink and it goes by when.
Yeah, it does. I thought maybe an hour, but oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So with that, I just want to send everybody love and hope that you're not alone. Okay. So just ask. Just don't forget to ask. So,
Beautiful.
okay.
Yes. All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Bye.